What's up, everybody? Welcome to. Damn it! Yeah. Welcome to another episode of my rock review. So I decided I didn't eat dinner yet. Plus, I'm doing reviews at the same time, so I can just do both and stuff like that. So nice change of scenery, you know. The album I'm about to review tonight, Led Zeppelin's 8th and final studio album, In Through the Outdoor, released in 1979 on their Swan Song Records. Singles album is known for, only came out with actually 2 singles, Fool in the Rain and Hot Dog, kind of put together. Alright, so this is the last album of new material because you guys should know that Coda was the final official album. This is the final studio album of new material. Alright, so after they had released Presence, tragedy kept coming towards the band. For one, while they were touring, Robert Plant's son Karak died. He had this stomach cancer, some shit like that. So they had to cancel their tour in British. And so with the tour being canceled, they had tax problems and shit. Had tax problems. So, they were going through some money problems, of course. But what's even worse was the fact that Jimmy Page, John Bonham, they were going through Bonham was going through alcoholism. Page had a heroin addiction. So basically what had happened was John Bonham and Robert Plant were mostly working on this album, while Page and Bonham came after to add their parts to it. You know what I'm saying? And so basically, that's basically about the whole album and shit like that. So with John Paul Jones basically produced this album, but from what I looked up, Jimmy Page was responsible for mixing the album, and he kind of took the production credit for himself in a way. So okay, yeah. So this is a very weird time for the band. I mean, yeah, very weird time for the band indeed, basically. Alright, so where do I begin? So, 7 songs. You guys know what I'm about to do. Track number 1, In the Evening. Pretty okay song. It's too synthesized driven, basically. Basically what I got from that song was how if you're rich and famous, basically, you still have struggles like everybody else, but you're just struggling in different ways, basically. Everyone's human in their own way. Money does not make anyone special. That's what I got from In the Evening. Track number 2, Soundbound Cerez. I don't know if I'm saying it right. That song was okay. I'm not really a big fan of that one like that. Then we have Fool in the Rain. A lot of Led Zeppelin fans like this song. A lot of Led Zeppelin fans despise this song. Me, I'm kind of in between when it comes to this song. And I'm going to talk about the negatives first about the song. For one, I think the song was way too poppy, even for Led Zeppelin. Like that dun 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 dun. I mean, when I first heard it, I liked it when I first heard it, but over the years, I kind of grew a dislike for it. and like Robert Plant singing like da da like da 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 like you know what I'm getting at. But at the same time, though, I like the song because it was something they went out the box with this song basically. Like I love the Latin flavored beat. Where I was reading up that Jimmy Page got the idea for the Latin flavored beat, I think because he was watching the World Cup series in Argentina, and the song was basically talking about this guy who was supposed to meet up with this girl and shit, but the girl stood him up, and he feels down and he feels like a fool in the rain, because it's raining. You've all heard songs like this before. Every artist have done stuff like this, like from the Temptations to Maya Hawthorne. So nothing different, nothing really groundbreaking with that song. Then we have Carol Celebra, if I'm saying it right. It's probably my favorite song off this album. It's the second longest song the band has ever recorded. And so, basically, the song was split into 3 sections. Like the first section is like the synthesizer bit, and Robert Plant's vocals, the way his vocals were mixed on that song, you can hardly hear them. Excuse me for 1 second. Yeah. And I was reading in the interview, or I was looking up this album, how Robert Plant was basically saying that he was talking about what the band was going through, and he felt kind of bad the way that Jimmy Page was mixing the song, and you could hardly hear his vocals and shit. The second section is where the song takes like a more slower turn, and you can hear like Page doing his guitar work. And he used the Gibson, the EDS 1275. The only time he used that guitar on a Led Zeppelin song. So I thought that was pretty interesting though. Then when it comes to the third part, basically, it just returns to the up-tempo-ish, and all the 4 band members are performing. And I like this song because with the whole album being like synthesizer driven, which I will get into at the end of this review, it's kind of nice seeing the whole band coming together, But it is what it is. It is what it is, basically. Okay. Next song is All My Love. That song was a tribute to his son Kyrak. That song, pretty good song, but the way they use the strings on that song, I don't know, I could have felt they could have done better with that, but I don't dislike the song. I just feel like it could have been a little better. I get that it was a tribute to his son and stuff. I get it. And last song, I'm Gonna Crawl. Pretty good, dope song. It was like more of a return to like the more blues, soul influence, and things of that nature. I'm sorry, I'm just really hungry right now. And that's all the songs off this album. Okay. My personal opinion about this album. This is the weakest album, in my opinion. But when it comes to Led Zeppelin at their weakest, you can still find moments of genius with this album. I'm gonna talk about the negatives first. For one, the chemistry of the band was all over the place. Like, one thing I loved about Led Zeppelin, especially the early Led Zeppelin, their chemistry was tight. Like, listen to like the first album. You'll know what I'm talking about. This one, it just felt like it was just kind of off because with Jimmy Page and John Bonham inserting their own unique technique into the songs or shit like that. It just felt like something was missing though. Two, as much as I like John Paul Jones and I do commend him for the production of this album, the synthesizers were a bit too much. I don't know if it was just me. It just had like a more commercial-ish appeal to it, like, cause you gotta remember back in like the late 70s. Now, don't get me wrong, Led Zeppelin have used synthesizers in the past, but the thing about that, they didn't let the synthesizers overcome or overshadow like the main bluesy hard rockish image. Cause you gotta remember the late 70s, cats like Genesis, ABBA, thing like Peter Frampton, who else? Like, they were using synthesizers, and it became like more popular by the time like the mid to late 70s too. And you gotta also remember because disco was coming out. Well, disco was at its peak at that time. So, yeah. And also, what else about this? And I guess that's my only gripes about this album. And it's kind of crazy because Jimmy Page even went as far as in the interview and said that he didn't really like this album because he felt it was a bit too soft for Led Zeppelin. Which I agree. But, and this is not to knock Jimmy Page because he's like one of my favorite guitarists and producers. But what can you do? Like, they were going through tax problems. He was out doing whatever with John Bonham, and John Paul Jones and Robert Plant kind of picked up the slack. So I'm not trying to criticize him for what he said, but it is what it is. That's the best way to put it. But overall, I have really no complaints about. No, it's not like a major complaint about this album. I just wish it could have been a little better, basically. A whole lot better. And it's kind of sad how they ended their legacy because, as you guys should know, John Bonham died the next year, basically. So, rest in peace to John Bonham, by the way. Probably like the illest rock drummer, among the illest rock drummers ever. So, all I have to say is, it's been dope reviewing their discography and stuff. I recommend you guys check out all the albums. You guys will find something you would like in every Led Zeppelin album. If you want to start off with Led Zeppelin, I think the album you should start off with first. A lot of people would say Led Zeppelin 4, but I would start with their first album just for that blues, what they were really going after, that bluesy stuff. But that's just my opinion. I'm about to get ready to do another review. Stay tuned. Peace.